Y'all figure out who this is yet? SOSS. Sunday. And um, been out of church for a little while. But I've mentioned this a couple times, but I never really get to the point. Um, I've gone. There's only 24 hours in the day, so you have to pick how many hours you're going to spend doing what. So many hours making money, so many hours taking care of your critters, so many hours taking care of yourself. And one of the things that I allow myself, or well, actually I demand of myself, is to spend a specific amount of time in the Word of God. Well, because to me, it's one of the most important things you can do. Um, well, not one of, but probably the most important thing you can do. It makes everything else go better. Uh, but this is something the pastor's uh, been going over chapter 5 in Matthew. And, um, you waiting for church or whatever and stuff. Anyway, I flipped through. I was aiming for chapter 5. I wound up in chapter 7. And that's what we're just going to touch on this real quick. Try to make it short enough to keep y'all's attention. Matthew chapter 7. This is out of the New King James Version. Judge not, that ye or that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is in your own eye? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. This one is a sermon all by itself, but do not give what is holy to dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn and tear you to pieces. Verse 7, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. Or what man is therefore among you who, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. That's through 14. We could go on, but I want to jump back up here because this is important. We'll work our way back up. Verse 7, ask, it will be given to you, seek, and you will find, knock, and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be opened. Or what man is there among you who, if his son asks for bread, will give him stone, or if he asks for a fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who is in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Therefore, big word, therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. That whole, from verse 1 down to verse 11, is followed by a therefore. And it's all tied together. that verse isn't so much telling us that anything we pray for, God's going to give us. He could if he wanted to, because he's God. But it leads me more to, what are we praying for from God? I mean, what would a good gift be? I mean, just because it's something we want doesn't mean it's necessarily something that we need. And this is tied together with judging. I mean, how can I judge somebody who prays for a Rolex and a new car just because I choose not to pray for them? I mean, God says it's okay to pray for it. I mean, he doesn't lead me to do that, but maybe he leads somebody else. Why am I worried about what I perceive as something blocking somebody's field of view and preventing them from getting to a closer and better walk with God? Have to do with me removing what is between me and a closer walk with God. I don't think it's nearly as important for me to point out all your little, or whoever's little problems in their walk with God as it is for me to point out to myself all the problems I have in my life walking with God. It's a very narrow path. That your word is a lamp unto my feet. We're not holding the lamp. We're following the lamp. We're following the word. God's word, which is still in the possession of God, is the lamp unto our feet, a light unto our path. So we have to follow it where it's going. Shout out to Smoking Locust. Oh, can't say that. I'll edit it. The thing is, we need to be worried about what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. I've said this before on videos, and I still stand on it. You cannot walk the straight and narrow unless you study the law and the prophets. Do you need to adhere to the law and the prophets by the letter? I do not believe so, no. Do you need to know what they are? Yes, you do. How are you supposed to know, the even as long and drawn out as those laws are? How are you supposed to know the basic concepts that God has for us to deal righteously with one another if we've never bothered to read them? If we've not studied them enough to understand, and we've not meditated on them enough to have a sense, a spiritual understanding of what the spirit of the law would be. Can we just say, well, we're just supposed to love each other? What does that love mean? What does it mean for me to love you or for you to love me? Wouldn't real love transcend emotions? Wouldn't it go to the core of our very soul? Wouldn't love be that deep? Wouldn't true love be that strong? Wouldn't true love be willing to climb up on a cross after being beaten, humiliated, drugged through the streets, cursed at? But to hang on a cross, would true love hang on a cross, bearing the burden of sin for all of his creation, just so that they wouldn't die? That sounds a lot like love. Just exactly what are we willing to bear for others, to prove that we don't have a 4x4 fence post shoved in our eye, blocking what we're trying to see. Love isn't live and let live. Love is everybody trying to live together. Love is everybody trying to be closer to God together. Love is about understanding that not each of us is the same person. Love is also about understanding that there are rules to being a righteous person. It's not that simple. There's nothing I could jump back to. And it's actually, I took notes on this stuff when I was in my Bible, and it all boils down to not everybody that thinks they're getting in is getting in, and that's sad. It takes constant work, a constant. Your desires have to be the desires of the Lord. Your desires have to be the desires of God. The more your desires line up with the desires of God, the closer you are to the straight and narrow. And it's that simple. It's longer than I want it to be. Debate it with me if you want to. It's Matthew chapter 7. Yeah. Love all y'all. Be blessed. Stay alive. Don't die.